Good afternoon and welcome to the Think Realty webinars. I'm Rodney. I'm the Director of Sales for Think Realty, and we are so excited to have you a part of our webinar series. Today we have Dr. Adam Gower from Gower Crowd, and he's going to discuss the topic, how to turn your website into a lead generation machine. Before we get started, just a couple of housekeeping items. Just a reminder, we have the Think Realty Conference coming up in Houston on March 26th and 27th. You definitely want to be a part of that. So go to thinkrealty.com and check that out. You have the opportunity to be in person, or if you don't feel comfortable in travel, we completely understand. You can get your virtual ticket. Also, as a reminder, we'll be sending out this webinar after it's over. We'll upload that in YouTube, send that out to you, and you'll be able to rewatch it and ask questions. Speaking of questions, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to put them in the chat. And when the presentation's over, he's going to get to as many questions as possible. So definitely put those questions in the chat and we'll get to them. With that, we'll just turn it over to Dr. Gower. Dr. Gower, welcome.
Thank you so much. I am absolutely thrilled to be doing this. I have to tell you, this is actually the first paid webinar I have done. I've been on a few where I've been invited, and so I'm delighted to do this. And I was actually thinking last night of explaining kind of the DNA of what goes behind a marketing campaign when you're trying to raise money. But instead, I'm going to stay at a higher level. I'm going to stay on topic. What I'm going to do is, the first thing I'm going to do is share my screen with you. Hold on one sec, and hopefully, can I get a thumbs up from somebody that you can actually see that? Let me check my chat over here. Is that good to go? You can see that? Somebody put in the chat, yes. So that I know you've got the, okay, good, thank you. All right, so that's what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna go through this very quickly. I see there's a few participants. So if you would like, and if there's time at the end, I'm more than happy to pull up your website if there is time, and I can give some real tangible, real-time feedback on what your website looks like and some of the things that you can do. All right. So let's, if there's enough time at the end, I'll be more than happy to do that. What I'm going to talk about today is how to get more investors, basically using your website, right? Turn your website into a lead generating machine. Of course, you want to get more investors so that you can raise more money and buy more deals or do bigger deals. And and we're going to actually practice. It's a practical walkthrough of how to attract prospects using your website, nurture them, and convert them into being active, repeat investors, because that's ultimately what you want, who recommend you to their friends, relatives, and colleagues. Now, this is based on my personal, what I'm going to teach you today is based on my personal experience. I've personally raised over 500 million in equity and transacted over $1.5 billion working for companies like these: Universal Studios, Paramount, East West Bank, Colony, Gore Capital, and others. So very major institutional. And I've also done a lot of work on my own account raising money. Now, after the last downturn, the global financial crisis of 2008, of course, we're going through another one right now, I started doing some seed investing, some angel investing. It's a long story. I'm going to try and keep it brief for you now so we can get straight to the point. And I learned a new language when I started doing this seed investing. I actually went into a startup incubator, and the new language was the language of digital marketing. And in 2012, when the Jobs Act passed, which I'm sure you're familiar with, I realized that there was going to be this transformational impact on commercial real estate because you would be able, after the 2012 Act, you'd be able to, or sponsors be able to raise money online for the first time in history. And so basically this new industry was born, and you're all familiar with that. I know you must be in one way or another. This intersection between commercial real estate finance and digital marketing. And this is the this is where this intersection is where the world of crowdfunding resides. Now, it's really actually the world of real estate syndication online. And real estate syndications actually have been going back, and I have a PhD in this in some regards, all the way to post-Civil War America. This is how the first real estate syndicates were formed. 1933, they were prevented from marketing, essentially. 2012 opened that up again. So what is particularly fascinating is that what we're going to be talking about today is actually nothing new. What's new about it is that you can do it online. But in terms of syndicating real estate and the way you do it, nothing has really fundamentally changed. So what does all this mean to you? Well, before we start getting into that, what you're about to see and what I'm going to go through with you now is very powerful. And if you implement the system that you're about to see, you can attract prospects, raise money, and buy more deals. However, it's not easy. I'm going to make it sound easy, but it takes patience. And the only true test of success is going to be the quality of the deals, the terms you offer, your ability to deliver, and the attractiveness of your whole package to investors. All right, just to make that really clear. I know you know that already, but if I discuss numbers, they are for example only, and not because I'm suggesting you'll raise that much or you'll raise anything, right? So what does the intersection between real estate and direct marketing mean for you? Well, basically, it means moving your in-person capital raising effort to the online world. So let's start with the old-fashioned way. Probably is the way that you're used to doing it. I know my entire career I've done it in person, and it's only just starting to move to the online world. So the way you do it the old-fashioned way, and is, like I say, probably the way that you still raise money, is by attending joining a country club, attending or joining a foundation, signing up for charities to go to their meetings, getting on boards, networking, going to networking events, Rotary clubs, etc., etc. Why do you do that? Or getting introductions, in fact, calling your accountant to lawyers and just asking one person after another, can you make an introduction for me? So why do we do that? Well, it's in the hope that someone you meet at one of these events will like what they see, right, in you, will be interested in what you have to say, will have money, right, and will want to learn more about you. And then what happens when somebody says, tell me more, right, out of that, all that networking you do? Well, then starts the investor, the real estate sponsor mating ritual commences. And I've actually got a little picture here. Here he is. This is the real estate sponsor over here, and here's the investor, right? It's like the classic mating ritual where you wine and dine your prospects, you arrange meetings, you produce and print pitch decks of unfathomable beauty, right? You spend all your time putting these things together. And if you're lucky, maybe 1 in 100 of these people at the meeting will be interested in what you have to say. And 1 in 10 of those, 12 meetings later, might ultimately invest with you. But all you're really doing with your networking, when you boil it down to the smallest common denominator, is 1, you are putting yourself out there to be visible. 2, you are providing, and I've got this thing here, you're providing information of interest and of value to your prospects, right? That's the second thing that you're doing. The third is you are attempting to establish a relationship of trust. And the good news is that while you do that in person, as much as you really don't want to be doing these dog and pony shows of going to networking meetings and then sitting down for hours pitching your background and your track record and your stuff to investors, guess what? Neither do your prospects. They don't want to be sitting down for 2 hours listening to you pitch them, right? So there's more good news. Number one, the pandemic has utterly, the very fact that we're on this call together, you think about it, has accelerated the use of digital media, and everybody is becoming more and more acclimatized to establishing relationships online. Right? Everything is done either on your cell phone or on a computer. They've got a prop on your cell phone or on a computer. It's all being done online. And what that means is, for you, it's easier than ever to raise money online. Just look at this insane frenzy, right? With GameStop. I mean, people want to invest online. That's a different world because they're all playing games, but they're all over there. The serious investors are becoming more and more acclimatized to making investments online. So it's easier than ever to do that. But the difference between doing it online and doing it in person is, simply speaking, that it is 1,000 times more effective than the in-person world. Could even add another 2-3 digits, zeros to that. It's just that the power is extraordinary. And it's because at best, you can only reach a few hundred people in person. If you think about going and giving, a best case scenario is that you give a speech, right? You're a guest speaker somewhere. Maybe there's a big audience there that you can speak in front of at best. And by the way, going online also, this is a side note that I'm put here, but going online or having a good presence online super juices the effectiveness of anything that you do. Let's say if you do a speech somewhere. So imagine you're in front of 100 people and you're pitching your stuff. Or just take me, for example, right now, sitting in front of you, however many people there are here. The fact is that if I had zero online, I have to do everything, all the heavy lifting in this short period of time with all of you to convert you from being mildly interested to somehow establishing a relationship with me, right? This webinar would have to do all that heavy lifting. But because I have an extraordinarily good online presence, all you need to do now, I can be relaxed. I can show you something of really high value. You can spend the rest of your time on my website to establish a deeper relationship with me. It's so much easier for both of us. And this is how you convert investors as well, the exact same way. All right, we're going to get into the details in a minute. And so online, and now there's only a dozen people on this call, but online you're reaching tens or hundreds of thousands of people all at the same time. And here's exactly how you do it. There are 3 key things that you need to be successful online. Number 1, don't mock. You need a website. Number 2, that website has to have functionality. Number 3, your website must have content. It is not just a glorified business card. So on your website, this is going to tell your story. It's going to share your insights. And importantly, it must be educational. It must provide value to somebody landing on it. Functionality, the functionality that your website has to have is it must have lead generating forms that are linked to auto-responding email systems and for the advanced tracking, right? So you can see what's happening when somebody lands on your website. What is their journey through your website? How are they actually establishing a relationship with you? Content, however, is king. Content is the engine. It's what powers the engine. It's what drives traffic. And I'm going to give you an analogy to how I like to think about this. Of course, being English, I've picked a gorgeous Rolls Royce as my example here, my metaphor for what we're doing and how you're successful online. But it's like a car, or the body of a car is your website, right? Your website has to look good. It has to be attractive on its face. and it has to have doors that you can get into, right? That's links and lead gen forms. The engine of your online presence is like the engine of a car, right? That's your lead generating forms, that's your auto responding email systems, that's your tracking data, etc. That is the functionality of your website. That's the equivalent of the engine in a car. But there is no point having an powerful, gorgeous car with an amazing engine if you don't have what? Fuel. If you don't have fuel, your website goes nowhere. It just sits there passively. You can build the most amazing website. No one would find it. And if they did, they wouldn't stay there because they're not going anywhere. You are providing nothing of value to them, no function, right? So what is the process by which content attracts investors? What's the mechanism that it does? Oh, how does it work? So content is broken down. The way it works is like this. It's broken down into 4 core components. A post, and we're going to talk about each one of these in a second. A post is on social media. That's where you put a post up on social media. It's a form of content. The second is a page on your website. We'll get to what goes into that in a minute as well. The third component is a form, so that when somebody transitions from a post on social media to a page on your website, they are given the opportunity to give you their name and an email address, to put their hand up and say, I'm interested, give me more. And then the fourth vital component is that you follow up, right? So let's start with a page. What is a page? Well, a page is an article, something of interest, something of value. It's not actually that difficult to write an article. And there are 3 parts to writing an article, 3 things that you have to keep in mind when you want to write an article. This is the nitty-gritty of what you have to do, what you must do to be successful online. It's all content driven. 3 components to writing articles. 1, it absolutely must provide value. 2, it's important that it stays on message. That's your message. And 3, you want to be addressing your investor avatar. And your investor avatar is somebody who is absolutely the perfect person for you, who is, just think about this for a second. I'll give you a hint how to think about it. Put in your mind's eye now your best investor. Who's the easiest person for you to pitch to in the world? Have them in mind whenever you write content. And there are more sophisticated ways of doing that. There's another way, actually, it's interesting, is run a search for, pick an idea like male in the mid-40s or some portraits. Run a search on Google. I know this sounds a bit daft, but run a search on Google, hit images, and actually pick a photograph of somebody that you can see and you think, gosh, that person, I can tell that guy or that gal is the perfect, I could sell them anything, right? Get that up in front of you will help you. But your investor avatar is very, very important, because understanding who that is, but like I said, it's obviously more complicated than that, but understanding who that is will allow you to direct messaging exactly the right way. So this is how we do that. 7 steps to doing that. First of all, when you write an article, it's very important that you select the right topics to write about. Now, I did take a slide out of here, and I am going to iterate exactly. I'm going to bring it back in, even though the slide's not there. So how do you pick the right topics? Actually, a very difficult thing to do. Well, it can be. It can kind of lead to writer's block. But here's a trick for doing that. And sorry, anybody that's on this call that's heard me say this again, but it really works. I'm just going to reiterate right now. Go ahead and get your latest deal memo, right? Or offering docs. So let's say your deal memo, where you put together a PDF with all kinds of, you were pitching a deal, and have somebody in your household go through it who knows nothing at all about real estate. If you have a spouse who knows nothing at all, they know you're in real estate, they have no idea what you do, give it to them. If you've got a kid who is of age, right, old enough that they can read and understand basic English, give it to them and give them a highlighter or a pencil and have them underline every single word or phrase that they don't understand. That is your topic list. All right, that's your topic list. It really is. And the reason that it works so well to do it that way is that you are pulling out your DNA. Right? If you're using your documents and your language to create the articles and the content that you are producing, and then importantly, you are writing articles with your spin on it that is based on your unique background, track record, and experience. Every single one of us is unique. I will say this, and that's not in. It's not in here. This comment again. But what I would say is, do not hire somebody to write content for you. Never ever buy off the shelf content. All right, it will kill you. Google will kill you for it. Your investors, you might raise money the first time around, but the second time around, investors will get wise that what you've got on your website, what you're writing on your website is not authentically you. Don't do it, right? And why do I say that with such confidence? Because it's so easy to actually do it yourself, right? And make sure that whatever you do right is of value to your prospects, right? Has some useful purpose for your prospects. And the whole process of going through your own documents to create a topic list is that you remain focused on your unique value proposition. By the way, also keep in mind the WIFM acronym, WIIFM. What's in it for me? Remember that every single time a prospect sees your website, sees your articles, there's only one thing ultimately that is going through their mind, just as is going through your mind right now. What's in it for me? Shall I stick around or shall I go? Right? That's how investors are reacting to your stuff online. Make sure that when you write your content, produce it, that you give value, that you understand what is in it for them, and that you deliver that, right? Secondly, create content around your own topics, right? See, I'm getting ahead of myself as I usually do. Number three, so this is how you can create articles. And I just had a very interesting conversation with somebody yesterday. I forget exactly, I've spoken to so many people. Somebody said, should I do videos? Should I do articles? What about this? What about that? Here's the answer to that. Do what comes naturally. Start with whatever is the lowest hanging fruit for you personally. If you like to sit down and write articles, go for it. If you like to cut videos, do it. If you want to get on podcasts, right? It's an amazing way to create content. Like this entire presentation, I can convert this into a long form article, into a white paper, right? Why not? It's being recorded. It's easy enough to do. You could you could do webinars, right? And podcasts are great, but if you're getting interviewed on a podcast, make sure that they don't ask you the same questions all the time. Give a different spin each time. It's a great way of creating content. Step 4, once you've created your content, no matter what form it is, post it as a page on your website. Step 5, now write a social media post about that article that you just wrote, and do what? Point it to the article on your website. All you need to do is put a learn more click here with a link over the click here, so that somebody who sees, say, a headline, right, pick a line or a sentence or some wise quote from your article, use that on social media, put a link on learn more, click here. That will drive traffic to your website. Step 6, in that article, so now you've got somebody seeing a quote of yours on social media. They're interested enough to travel to your website to read the article. While they are there reading that article, you want to be giving them the opportunity to say, put their hand up and say, I'm interested, give me more. And the way you do that is with a lead generation form that actually, this is pro tip. Some people might disagree with me. Pro tip. Ask only for email address and first name. Make it as easy as humanly possible for that first touch, for that first encounter. You can get all the other stuff later. Where are you? What do you like? Are you accredited? What's your phone number? What's your address? All that stuff can come later. Make it easy for them to give you their name and email address first. Get their name and email address from a lead gen form, and that might have terms like, and the way you would, so these are kind of classic terms that we have tested using advertising. We split test on websites, we split test in advertising, all kinds of campaigns. Great terms that you can use on those lead gen forms are sign up, join the wait list, gain access is always a winner, get the white paper, people like that. And of course, at some point, you're going to say invest now. And in return for that lead, for whatever it is you're delivering to them, they're going to give you their name and email address. Step 7 is a second that they give you their name and email address, as soon as that prospect has come to you and said, yes, I trust you enough, I'm going to give you my name and email address, deliver an email, auto responding email sequence as soon as they sign up. Excuse me, I need to have a quick drink. I used to like to tell my students at university, I used to take this off, you know, the thing off. I need a quick slug of vodka. Hang on a minute. They love that. I do that at university. You can imagine students. All right, but step 7 is once somebody gives you their once they give you their name and email address, you want to be following up instantly with an auto responding email sequence as soon as they sign up. Right. How much time have we got? I always go much longer. I'm always afraid that I'll be finished in 5 minutes. And everyone will just sit around kind of looking at each other and smiling. And then, of course, it never happens and I never have enough time. But so there's plenty of time. I'm going to go ahead and let's do a little tour. OK, let's see exactly what that looks like. Everyone's still here. And so we're going to go to, why don't we go to LinkedIn first? And I'll just show you what this kind of thing looks like. So if we go to my profile, all right, so here we've got Hunter up the top, Hunter Thompson at the top. Keep in mind that Hunter is there, okay? Just hold that in your memory. Now we'll go to my profile and we'll take a look at my activity here. And I might have commented on something this one, I'm not really sure. By the way, this is all automated. So all right, so this one's 57 minutes ago. You can see here, this one was posted. By the way, I didn't do any of this. Just FYI, this is all totally automated. Now, I'm not going to count them. And here's the here are all the links. And you know, I've got so many funnels running at the same time. I'm not actually sure what everything goes to. So I have, yeah. So this one goes to so I've actually built a landing page. It's a lead generating landing page. And this one is one of our best performers. You can build the same kind of thing to attract investors, right? You give them some kind of training. This case, it's live training, not live, but it's a recorded live training that I've got up here. But you could do the same kind of thing. It could be about anything. It could be about how to make money in real estate, tax benefits, the million things you could do, like a recorded webinar. This webcast, I could repurpose, create a landing page for it, right, with the recording, and put it out there and say, you want to learn? Here's what the subject is, and there's how many 16 people. I could have a link pointing to this webinar, recorded webinar that just goes off automatically. In fact, if you're interested, go to gowercrowd.com/waterfall to see this actually in action. It's actually fascinating. More than anything, just to see how the funnel itself works. So I'm not going to go through all of these, but I am posting here. This one was 2 hours ago. This one 3 hours ago. So you can see, look, this one 3 hours ago. It's ridiculous. I must have, I don't know how many I've got going at the moment, but probably upwards of 12 to 15 posts a day. These were, I actually commented here. So that's why those are repeating. So these are repeating because I commented. But look at everything that you're looking at still 22 hours ago. This is all within the last 24 hours, all in one day. All right, so this one was yesterday. So everything above this is now on social media. So now you might think, goodness me, I can't do that. No, I'm going to just bug people all the time with that massive amount of posting. Well, hang on a minute. Let's go back home. Who was at the top? Hands up, who can remember? Correct. Hunter Thompson. Is he still there? Let's refresh. Of course, this is now going to completely screw up and not be. No. There are so many people in everybody's networks that your stuff only shows up, if you're lucky, when they actually come online, which is not all the time, of course. Not everyone's online all the time and not on LinkedIn. You've just got to catch people at the right time. So if you have a dozen pieces of content or more a day, you're not bugging people. But here's what happens. The next thing that happens is somebody sees a post on one of your posts. And so they think, oh, that's interesting. I'm going to check this guy out. And they come over here. I don't think it says, does it say view as, probably there's a button here that says view as, I don't know, view as a viewer. But anyway, whatever happens is what they're going to see is they're going to see this. So now they see this. So this page, think about this, all this stuff here is actually basically a different way of presenting my website. This is like all my content over here. This stuff it's like having a free website. And hang on, let's have a look at this. What happens when somebody looks up your name? You should run this. First one, my website, thank goodness for that. Second, I guess Cal Poly, they do pretty good, right? So I was teaching at Cal Poly for a while, so they pop up. Then this is now wealth management. So I write a column for now what's called wealth management real estate. Next, thank you, LinkedIn. I bet pound to a penny your name shows up. Oh, here it is. Oh no, edit pub. Oh no, this is the edit. I was hoping I could see it as a user, but I don't know how to do it. It's probably looking at it. All right, so LinkedIn is critical, and this is like having your, it's like a website. You have to have this optimized. It is free. This is rent-free digital real estate, right? Now, everything now funnels back to your website, right? So I've got so many of these things here that I'm not even sure which ones actually point back to articles. I don't think that one, but I'm not even going to try and do it. I've got too many funnels running at the same time. But suffice it to say, what happens now, somebody lands on my website, and this is an article I actually put together for investors. So an article on investors, and I embed videos and all kinds of cool things that you can do. But hey, what have I got here? Exactly, lead generation form. This is trying to capture a name. I want giving somebody the opportunity to learn more now that they've read this article. Now, this article actually also does gangbusters for SEO. I'm going to give you a quick insider tip or inside peek here. So this is an H1 heading. This is a very, very technical. I should probably not do this, but these are all the headings. This is how Google sees this page, and so Google knows that these are the subjects that are being talked about. Anyway, I probably shouldn't go too deep, but anyway, you want to be optimizing your articles as well, so that you get organic traffic and not just links, right? But anyway, so that's the basic principle. That's actually basically what I'm showing you, is that you post on social media. The other thing that's nice, I'll show you this as well. Let me have a go at Twitter. Let me just have a quick look at Twitter. I actually really I post on LinkedIn, Twitter, Face Chat. And have a look at this here. So, by the way, he's a close friend of mine, Steve Herman. He's the White House. He's the bureau chief, the White House bureau chief for the Voice of America. Just happened to mention that. Friends in high places. He works in the White House, actually. All right. So, and he travels with the president on Air Force One. So anyway, so if we go into my profile over here, then what do you see? Tell me what you see here. What do you notice? They're different articles, aren't they? Except this one, because I'm promoting this right at the moment. But they are generally, these are a set of different articles. And these are all, this one was yesterday. But this is, what do you see here? Branded, it's color coded, right? So that's my brand. We use the same font and logo. So no matter what, even if you don't click on something, you can tell This is Gower. This is Gower Crowd. This is how you attract investors. You become identified as an authority. It's very, very powerful. And I'm going to get ahead of myself. But anyway, let me not get ahead of myself and move down here. Note to self, go to web, right? So this is basically what the investor acquisition system looks like, what I just showed you here. What you have to do is to create, this is the engine. I'm sorry, this is the fuel. This is your messaging. So it could be podcast, articles, free downloads, slideshows, checklists always work well. Create content, put it on your website. Then start sharing that on social media. Just imagine this is all crisscrossed across it all the way through. And what that does is it builds your reputation. It gives you, it elevates your visibility. It builds your reputation, you become known, right? It's as simple as that. You become identified as an authority simply because people see you a lot. I mean, it's just, tell you something, look, I'm a real estate guy. I don't know if I need to really push this point, but the reason I shifted my career and moved into doing digital marketing was because when I discovered how this works and realized how amazingly well it worked, I was blown away. I wanted to learn everything I could possibly learn about it. Plus, I was sick and tired of sitting in blooming raising meetings and doing networking in person. It just used to drive me mad. So it really does work. All right, so this is the investor acquisition system. And then this is actually a funnel. Now, a funnel, typically they're drawn vertical, but I did a horizontal one just because I needed more room this way. So this is where you put your content. This is where you start. This is top of funnel. This is where you start attracting attention until somebody hits on your website and gives you their name and email address. Then you go back and you reuse your content. This is the beautiful thing. Like I said, right? You repurpose your content and now deliver that same content to them in a different form via emails, right? An indoctrination sequence of emails, and then ongoing newsletters, right? This is investment conditioning. It's basically called the investor journey until such point as you want to actually pitch. And by the time you get to that point, those people who have gone through this process, who have come to know, like, and trust you in digital marketing speak, by the time they reach, or by the time you reach this point when you want to ask them to invest, guess what? They are already predisposed to investing with you. That means that your first contact is not, where are you from? What's your track record? Why do you like senior housing? How long have you been doing it? How many did you don't have those discussions because this system does all of that for you. The discussions that you now have are, and that's seriously, this is what we find when we do raises, the calls that we get or the emails that we get are, I don't trust DocuSign. Can you FedEx the contracts to me? Or I want to use my self-directed IRA, but I don't know how. Those are the kinds of calls. In other words, what happens is you go from this repetitive process of saying the same thing again and again and again about your background, etc., establishing a relationship. You go from that to, at this stage, converting. So your calls are conversion calls. Very unusual. The ideal scenario is where somebody sees an ad on FaceChat, right, that you put out there, and without even calling you, they hit learn more, then they hit invest now, and they sign a wire money to you. That is the ideal scenario. Those don't come about very often. In time, you will be able to send out one email and fully fund a deal. It takes time though. But this process expedites the entire process for you. So, right? So you are closing, not getting to know somebody and nurturing them through the process. You are closing them instead. All right. So now, again, I'm definitely going to reiterate how much time I've got. Let's keep an eye on this. So if you do have questions, start thinking about them now. So what this process does, and I know I've already said this, it creates familiarity for your prospects, familiarity in you for your prospects. because they see you more. You become known in the industry and in the investor universe. You build trust. They like you because you're constantly helping them, right? For free. You're giving them free lessons about tax savings and investment strategies and diversification, whatever it is. You're educating them. You become recognized as an authority. They get used to seeing you, and eventually they click on the link in your website. And what does that mean? Oh, it's so wonderful. Now your investors are coming to you. You aren't going out trying to find them, and all that tedious networking is a thing of the past. Your investors are coming to you. No more tedious time spent, consumed in networking. Investors come to you. And by the way, typically it takes 6 to 10 points of contact on social media or through advertising on a webinar, podcast, et cetera, whatever it is, before they will actually give you the name and email address. Because prospects, they establish a relationship with you. They come to know, like, and trust you, and it makes them easier for you to convert them because they're predisposed to investing with you. See, I got ahead of myself early. I already had the script written out. And the big advantage of this whole process, of course, is that once you build it, think about this. Once it's built, it's an asset to your company. Once it's out there, right now, people are reading my stuff. People are clicking on my website. I get 250,000 people. Sorry, 250,000 people, just checking the time, 250,000 people come to my website every year. 750,000 impressions last month alone. While I'm sitting here, once you build it, it's an asset to your company that works for you. It runs automatically, right? You only have to build it once. This is what I love about this whole thing. As hard as it seems, you only have to do it once. And it creates this steady pipeline of investors for you. Oh, and I got a duplicate slide. Once it's by the way, okay, pause for a moment. What am I doing? I'm on a webinar, a paid webinar. I'm paying for the privilege of giving this webinar. Why am I doing that? Because I know that anybody on this call can now go to my website and they can establish a relationship with me. They can establish a relationship with me. All of you can by going off and spend a few minutes, see what's in. There's all kinds of goodies. It's over almost 1 million words of content on that website. It's unbelievable. I can't believe how much I've built. Once it's there, right, then you can add some high octane to the tank. Once you've built your system and you've got the content. And by that, I mean, you can now start driving traffic to it. Do not advertise. Sorry, Rodney, I'm just going to say it. He's not going to like me to say it. Don't spend money on advertising until you've got your mousetrap built, because you'll get 10 or 100 times the bang for your buck. Like going to give a speech somewhere. You go and give a speech somewhere and everybody's sitting there in the audience looking up your website, figuring you out and signing up, right, on your website, because there's so much stuff there. If you don't have that, you now have to rely on the kindness of their hearts to follow up with you, right? Let your website do the work. So this is how you add high octane to your tank. Oh my goodness, I'm almost out of time. I'm going to rush through this, right? So okay, now it's pitch time. I should have told you there was going to be a pitch, but don't worry, it's only a $49 pitch, so don't get panicked. If you would like me to show you exactly how to do all of what I've just shown you in the exact same format as this webinar, in person with you, live, hands-on, actually building the whole thing, then this is what I have for you. And I already told you the price. I've actually got a note to self. I was going to say at a ridiculously low price. But anyway, this is what I've got for you. It is the Learn by Doing 5-day bootcamp. I actually learned how to do Learn by Doing when I was teaching at Cal Poly, because that's their motto, Learn by Doing. So it's not like this where I am just going to kind of passively teach and you sit in the background, listen. You are going to get your hands, we're going to roll your sleeves up. This is what you're going to be learning. You're going to be learning how to attract prospects, how to nurture them, how to convert them into being active repeat investors so you can raise more equity for your deals without having to spend all your time doing it. And this is how we're going to do it. It's a 5-day boot camp, 1 hour a day, February 22nd to the 26th, noon PST each day. Plus, if you want, there's an optional VIP event Thursday and Friday at 2 p.m. And this is exactly what you're going to be doing. I'm actually going to be giving you a fully optimized lead generating, capital raising website template. It's like one of those cooking shows. Here's all the ingredients. I'm going to give those to you. No cost, that's included in it. You're going to get an automated email system. By the way, I went through this whole thing myself personally and tried to learn this whole thing. It took me to get this down probably 2 years. You're going to get in 5 days. I'm simplifying the whole thing, absolutely ultra simplifying it. We're going to customize the website. We're going to write an article. You'll install the article on your website. I'm going to show you how to do that. It's as easy as putting this PowerPoint presentation together. You're going to hook it up to a lead generation system, and you're going to deliver auto responding emails. In short, you're going to learn how to build an investor acquisition system, lead generating funnel by actually building one. Here's how to learn more about it. All right, now I got to do something. I'm going to put this in the chat so you can click on this. Hopefully that went to everybody. Actually, let me go ahead and send that to everybody. Here we go. Boink. Okay. So go ahead and click on that. You're going to land on a page like this. Now, what's that page all about? Hands up. Correct. It's a lead generation page. Exactly the same kind of lead generation page that we build for clients, that you are actually going to build in the boot camp. So keep an eye not only on what's involved and what you get to when you go through that, when you sign up, you're going to get to a page with a lot more information, but also look at how this stuff is delivered to you, because that's exactly what we're going to be building during the boot camp, during this 5 days. On the landing page, right? There's more training. Once you sign up, there's more training on the page, a series of short videos. It's all high value, gets into more details, all kinds of charts and graphs and diagrams and all kinds of stuff for you, right? I think the 6 or 7 short videos, a lot shorter than this one. And I've been beta testing the whole thing, by the way, just to make sure it really, excuse my language, kicks ass. This boot camp. I actually beta tested it last week with Joe Wilson on the East Coast, and he went through it with me. Very nice fellow, and he has actually recorded some videos very kindly. So you'll see those on there as well. Be sure to check that out so you know what's thing. So the boot camp is going to be perfect for you if you want more investors, if you want to put your whole system onto autopilot, if you want to raise more money from your existing investors. It's perfect for you if you want to convert prospects to actively investing with you. Convert being the key word there. If you want to do more deals, it's perfect. If you want to do bigger deals, it's perfect. And if you want to leverage your time by going online, the bootcamp is perfect for you. It is a learn by doing process, hands-on. You'll be watching over my shoulder. We are going to actively implement everything I teach you in real time. I want you to actually do it. If you miss one of the sessions, don't worry about it. I've got you covered. We have everything you'll have access to it through a private Facebook group where there will be accountability. All the content will be uploaded. You can watch it all later, right? If you want to. If you miss a session, don't worry about it. You share insights with other boot campers, and you will have eternal access to it all. And in sum, what we're going to do in the boot camp is build what I've just shown you today, what you can do. A page, literally build a page, write a post or write an article, build a page, post it, set up a lead generating form, and you're going to get swipe files to a follow-up sequence of emails that you can automatically deliver. All right. So anyway, I think I'm almost out of time. Let's see, 10 minutes. All right. So the page, you're going to write an article, show you how to write an article, what I call the easy way. It's actually the way I wrote my last 2 books. I've got props knocking about here somewhere. The post is a link on post on social media that will link to the article. We put in a form, that's your lead generation form, that one will install 2 types of form, right? You're actually going to build this. And then we'll follow up with an email, auto email system swipe file, which means I'm going to give you the language that you can use to edit it and then get those going. By the end of the week, this will be functioning for you. All right. And your website will be fully, and the website fully that you're going to get from me is fully optimized for capital formation. And we customize it uniquely to you so that it is fully ready for you when we are done. That is it. Thank you so much. And it's been a pleasure. If you have any questions, and I don't see any, maybe everyone's asleep, Rodney. I don't know exactly, but anyway, you can come back on now. And I'll have another quick slug of vodka.
Yeah, thank you so much. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to put them in the chat. We'll get some answers to all of the questions.
And if that's fine too. Do you have any questions? What's about you?
Well, actually, I am a avid LinkedIn user, so I kind of know the answer, but I think it would be important for our audience to know.
Sure.
On an average day, what quantity of posts do you suggest? Obviously, it varies a little bit with the type of business you're in, but on average, where do you feel most companies should post on a daily basis?
Yeah, so the simple answer to that is as often as you possibly can. So, but the way that we tend, because building content and getting it rolling takes time, what we aim to do is, so we set up 6-month rolling cycles. So we'll create enough content for 6 months. So approximately what, 200, let's just say 200 pieces of content. That gives you every day, actually less if you don't post on the weekends, but assume weekends as well. 200 pieces of content, which by the way, in the boot camp, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Don't worry, it's not, you don't write 200 articles. This is called content. I call it content factoring. It's also known as content compounding. It's where you take one piece of content and you create 24 pieces from it, right? So it's not as difficult as it sounds. But what you want to do is to get to 1 a day over 6 months, then start creating more content. And instead of going out for 12 months, right, 1 a day, you now add to the frequency every day. So you just keep adding. So I have, for example, now probably close to 4,000 pieces of content. And that's why I'm able to post 12, 14 times a day. So the answer to your question, the short answer is as often as possible, but always start somewhere. And I do see a question. It's a good question. Thank you. So if you always had one, right.
So the first question is,
I can see it. So let me just field this now, right? If you have a current website, will there be a need to purchase? No, there isn't. Think about it this way. First of all, I'm going to give you a website so you can play with it. I'm going to show you how to do it on the website, right? Specifically. So there's 2 options. Kiyoshi, right? Kiyoshi. I hope that I'm pronouncing that right. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. But you will be able to do a couple of things. If you want to, you can build the website that I give you, right, during the boot camp. You can build it out to replicate what you currently have and then point your domain to it. And the reason that you might end up wanting to do that is because I'm going to show you how staggeringly simple it is to actually build a functioning investor acquisition system with your website. Or if that's not what you want to do, you can use everything that I'm going to show you on your own website, right? You'll be able to transfer all the skills, but you won't be messing around with your website learning. I'm going to give you a website to play with. I think of it like ingredients in a cooking show. I'm going to give you the ingredients. If you make a mess, don't worry, you're just learning. You can go home and do it again properly when you've got more time, right? But you'll learn the skills. So you can apply it to your website, or you'll be able to use what you build with me, transfer your data for your current website, and actually use it. By the way, it is fully optimized. You'll see. I mean, it blew me away how easy it was. And seriously, it took me years to figure it out. I'd never done it before in my life. I'd never done anything like this. I figured out how to build a website, figured out how to publish a podcast. I built websites, and it took me forever and an enormous amount of learning. I paid people to train me. Opportunity cost was obscene. In fact, I had to give up direct investing. Think about that. The commitment to do it after 35 years of direct investing, personal, $1.5 billion in the course of my career, not my own money, of course, but other people's as well. I decided to ship. The opportunity cost was enormous. I'm going to show you how to do that in 5 days. All right. Next question. Well, that makes sense. Okay, good. Thank you for stopping me, because I never stop if you don't. Another question. What types of people should be included? Oh, anybody. Yeah. So look, a website developer will faint at the idea of what I'm going to say, right? Because they're not out there trying to actually raise money. That's the big difference with me is I'm not a developer. I am a developer. I'm a real estate developer who has learned the skills of website development, digital marketing, so I can blend them together. So my recommendation for you is marketing. Somebody on your marketing team, another person. Again, it depends on, if somebody's really expert at digital marketing, they might find it rudimentary. I doubt it, because I'll tell you why. I don't know what your website is. Kiyoshi, I don't know what your website is, but I bet a pound to a penny, I'm like almost out of time. If I went to your website with 100% certainty, I can find ways that it's basic. That you can improve that. Okay. So here's what I recommend. Let me try and paint the picture briefly. Somebody in their 20s who enjoys tinkering online and is halfway tech savvy. They will, by the end of the week, they will be able to go into your basic website, Kiyoshi, and either transfer it to the new one, and they will be off to the races. Sign up and look at the comments that Joe Wilson made. I just put them in there. It's like a 3 little videos. And at the end of one of them, he talks about the website, what he thought about the website. He said, I thought what about the website? And then see what he says about it afterwards. It'll help you. Better than coming from me. All right. So somebody that has a little bit of enthusiasm and is willing to do a bit of work, they will come away an expert. Seriously. All right. Anyone else? I'm happy to sit here for a while, but I know that Rodney, is he still smart? Oh, there he is. I thought he'd frozen there for a minute. Any more questions? More than happy to answer any. Is this presentation available to view again? Yes. That will be up again. I think Rodney's going to put it up, and I might actually create a little white paper from it. So sign up and then remind me, and I'll try and send that to you. All right. And gosh, thanks so much. I really appreciate that. Thanks, Kiyoshi. You never know, if it's, thank you, Brian. Oh, good. Yeah, no, don't stop. No, don't stop. All right, guys. Thank you. Yeah. Any questions you got? Seriously, sign up for that. It's $49. For 5 hours. I charge $5,000 to do the same thing with people in person. Sign up for it. It's worth every penny. And it's just like this. You get me exactly like different background. You'll have a different background, and I might not have a jacket on because I'm baking hot and there are all these lights going on. And I'll help you personally. I'll personally help you. All right, through this process. You'll love it. Shall I keep talking, Rodney? I'm happy to.
I think that is all the questions. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Gower.
My pleasure.
For everybody's information, generally within 24 hours, we'll have it up on our YouTube page. We'll have copies sent out to you guys as well as Dr. Gower, and he'll be reaching out to each and every one of you to see if you have any additional questions. If you want to ask any direct questions to him, he'll be available for that. But just look for that in your email sometime in the next 24 hours. So thank you, everybody, for joining, and have a great afternoon.
Rodney, thanks so much for this opportunity. By the way, anyone that is ready to do a webinar, this is the man. He's amazing, fantastically responsive. Couldn't make it easier for anybody.
Well, thank
Really
you so much.
well worth it. Sure. Thank you.
Everybody have a good day.